Okay, good morning everyone. How are we going? Yeah, woo. Well, welcome and welcome to orientation at Flinders University. As you can see, orientation is all of this week, so most of the activities for HASS are all today. So my name is Eliza Kitchen. I'm a lecturer at Flinders University, and I'll be taking you through this little welcome session this morning. We also have people online as well, so hello to people online. So the plan this morning is just to give you a bit of a welcome to the College of Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences. So for those of you in doing various different degrees, this is the college you're kind of associated with. So in today's session, I will introduce you to the college, so I'll give you a little bit of detail around what the college is. I'll share with you some ideas around and information around support services. I'll introduce you to some really key people as well as we go through the session. The plan is to also make this quite interactive, so there'll be a little bit of interactive polls and questions throughout. We'll also have a little bit of a panel towards the end of the session too, which will enable you to ask questions. So before we go too far, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathering today on Garniata. So this lands that we're on, this beautiful campus, has been on the lands of the Garniata for thousands of years, and they've been the custodians of this land. And we do operate across all of these different other lands as well. So we do really want to acknowledge and pay our respects to the elders who still have a lot of connection to the countries that we're on. Okay, so the College of Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences. It is a little bit of a mouthful, I must admit. It's one of the 6 colleges that we have here at Flinders University. Rather than saying Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences, you're absolutely welcome just to call us the College of HASS. So if you think about the avocado, the type of avocado, it helps you remember. In fact, you'll sometimes see some staff members wandering around campus with a little avocado badge. So if you see someone with an avocado badge, likelihood is they belong to the College of HASS. So keep your eye out for that. So the College of HASS, we are quite a varied discipline. We've got 20 different disciplines in our college, so quite a lot, a little bit more than some other colleges. And as you can see, there's quite a diverse kind of list of things that we cover. So we do have a range of degrees. So it can range from Bachelor of Arts, for example, the creative arts, creative industries, languages, media and communication, and that's just to name a few. I'd be here forever if I named all of them. But we've also got undergraduate and postgraduate degrees as well. So just out of interest, if you could quickly raise your hands if you're doing an undergraduate degree with us and you're starting an undergraduate degree. Yeah, perfect. What about postgraduate degrees? Anyone starting a postgraduate degree? Yeah, perfect, welcome. So all of the information today is applicable to both groups, so don't worry. Definitely information that's useful for everyone alike. So what I wanted to talk about in terms of some of our different disciplines as well is the fact that whilst we have so many different disciplines, we've got amazing staff in all of these different areas. So they do have a lot of accolades behind them, whether it's teaching, research or community impact. Definitely our staff have lots of different awards and things like that, which I could go on and on about. However, I don't want to play favourites by just listing a couple, but hopefully you'll get to know your discipline staff as you go through your degree, and you may have also the opportunity to study different disciplines other than perhaps your specific discipline you've come here to study. Welcome. Okay, so really importantly for you guys as well, given that we've got lots of different staff and lots of teaching staff, they're all very passionate about their areas of knowledge. So they are going to welcome you into their scholarly areas of study, invite you into lots of exciting conversations as you go through your degree. They do have lots of knowledge, so extensive knowledge, but also they're real human beings. They have that knowledge, they have understanding. They've been teaching for numerous years, many of them. So they do also know the challenges of studying. So they are very approachable. So if you do have questions, if you do have queries, absolutely get in touch with your lecturers, your tutors throughout your topics, okay? They're not behind a barrier or anything like that. They're absolutely approachable. So do get to know them as you go through, especially the next couple of weeks, as you start to meet your lecturers and your tutors. So they are a really good sort of font of knowledge, both discipline-wise, but also in terms of how the university works as well. Because sometimes we have questions around that too, of how do we actually find things, how do we get to places. So do feel free to ask them too. And of course, alongside our academic staff, we have huge teams of professional staff members as well, such as the people in the front that I'll introduce you to in a minute. And absolutely, these professional staff members are really the people that make things work. If it's not for them, the whole university system would not work at all. But absolutely really good people to kind of know and figure out how to kind of contact and ask them questions. So we'll cover that in a little while. And we'll also talk about some of the support services that you can use here at Flinders. Okay, so I mentioned there was going to be a bit of interaction. So this is the first question, and it's really kind of getting to know who we've got in the room. So if you get out your phones and scan in this QR code, you can join the conversation online, and everyone online can do the same thing. So it will ask you to pop your name in. And you can just respond to this question. So where are you coming from? Got a lot of other. And once you have submitted your answer, I will say keep that on your phone, because we will come back and use that same process a little bit later in the session today. You'll also notice, if you're looking at your phone, there is the polling tab up the top, but there's also one that says Q&A. So if you do have any questions as we're going through this, feel free to pop in a question. Sonia over to my side here is monitoring the Q&A and will let me know if there are any questions. Okay, has everyone had a chance to respond? I'll give you a minute longer, just to make sure. Okay. I can't see any changing there now, so I will presume we're done. Oh, I said that, and of course it moves. So we can see most of you coming from other. I maybe should have put in some more options there, but other is fine. Some are coming from working, some secondary school, and then joining us here at Flinders. And I guess the really important thing around why I asked that question is to really acknowledge that everyone's coming from a different space and a different place, everyone with slightly different backgrounds. So it's one of those things that once you start university, don't expect to be at exactly the same place as everyone in your classroom. Everyone's got their own journey. So definitely don't sort of treat the whole university process as a race. It's absolutely up to you to kind of tailor your journey as part of this. And I'll just skip to the next slide. And it is one of these things, you are kind of just embarking on your studying journey right now, and it is quite an exciting time. And I do want you to kind of stop and pause and acknowledge that as well. It's quite an exciting thing that you're embarking upon. You've decided what your area of passion is, or hopefully want to investigate and find out a little bit more about an area. And it's a really good time to really start exploring your interests, seeing where you may go in future, building up your skills, building up your knowledge. So it's a really important kind of starting point. I do also want to acknowledge that the transition to university can also be daunting. Absolutely, like there'll be new questions, there'll be new ways of doing things. we don't expect you to know how to do things 100% straight off the bat. I remember starting university, started my undergraduate 20 years ago, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was always getting to rooms and getting to places super early, like literally like an hour early, because I was terrified of getting the wrong place and the wrong time. But absolutely make the most of orientation to walk around the campus. There are campus tours as well, so if you go down to the hub later, you'll be able to join a campus tour. And it's a really good way of getting someone to guide you through all the different buildings that we have here at Flinders. But I would recommend as well having a look at where your classrooms are today as well, so you can have a look and just kind of go, right, where is this classroom? Go off and find those spaces. So there will be new things to tackle. There'll be new sort of online systems. There'll be new ways of doing things, all these different services. But of course, it is a learning opportunity, what you're starting here. So just be mindful that you don't need to know it all straight off the bat. Just take your time, do ask questions, and just really embrace the opportunity, make the most of it. Because obviously university does offer, welcome, a really good opportunity to really explore and discover your passions, whether it's, in terms of the academic world, or whether it's just that general student experience as well. So making connections through classroom experiences, as well as kind of connecting with your peers through associations, clubs, all the myriad of things that happen on campus as well. So do make the most of it. So in terms of some of the experiences and interactions to expect when you start university, so we do have face-to-face classes. Everything that's on your timetable should appear and have a room number that indicates that you'll be having those classes face-to-face. Anything that's online will be clearly indicated, but you also have the learning management system, which we call Flow, which is also an online kind of platform where a lot of your lecturers will place materials and everything that's related to your topics. I guess one of the key questions that I often get asked when people start a university degree is what are the differences between the different classes? So often you'll see in your timetable, lecture. So lectures kind of like what we've got here in a big room like this, where you've got all of the participants from a topic all together in one space. And generally a lecturer telling you information, hopefully interacting a bit with you as well. And then seminars generally tend to be the smaller classes. So there'll be seminar rooms across the campus that you'll go to and have smaller discussions and more hands-on kind of experiences. So in terms of interactions, I mentioned before around professional staff members. So we've got a lot of professional staff members who are kind of behind the scenes a lot of the time, making everything happen. But you also maybe interacting with them a little bit further into your degree as well. There's academic staff, which incorporates your lecturers, casual academics, tutors, all of those sorts of things. And then amongst the university, there's a lot of different support services as well, which I'll talk about. And of course, really importantly, your peers are a really key part of the experience. And again, hopefully you'll get to know a lot of your peers throughout your study process. Okay, so to introduce you to some important people, so the College of HASS, we have a college front. So in fact, if you walk out of this door and across the way, you'll see a set of stairs which has this neon sign at the top of it, the HASS sign. That's how you know you're going in the right direction. So look up the stairs for the HASS sign. Up the top of those stairs is a nice area that you can use. It's basically a study space, but there's always a staff member manning the desk there from Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. So it's a good spot to stop and study. It's also a place for a bit of free caffeine. There's a coffee machine there, so there's a bit of a hint if you need a bit of a caffeine dose. So it's a really good spot to be. In terms of contacting and asking queries around your studies, the best kind of method is to actually put in an Ask Flinders request. So whilst our admin team does have a specific email address, the best mechanism is actually to put in a Ask Flinders request, and it just makes sure that your query gets down to the right person. So in our college, we have enrolment and course advisors who are, if you guys want to just stand quickly, we've got Joe just there to the far side. We've got Annie, give a wave. And then we've also got Janine, who is coordinator of enrolment and student progress as well. So really helpful, handy people to know. So if you do see them around, say hi. They're friendly. The other thing I wanted to mention and also introduce Anna, who is one of our student success and wellbeing advisors. Do you want to just quickly talk a little bit about your role?
Yeah. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Flinders. I am Ana Milena Diaz Leaño, but you can call me Ana. I spent my primary school learning how to write my name. Spanish names are like that. The student success wellbeing advisors, we are here to help you, to point you out where to go and to give you maybe some advice if at some moment of your studies you might need extra help. So I don't know if one of you are from Adelaide here. Can you raise your hands, please? Who is from Adelaide? Who is from interstate? Anyone from interstate? Anyone from overseas? Okay, so you see you come from different places, and depending on where you come from, maybe you might have same questions, maybe you have different type of questions. I was an international student once, and as someone that my mother tongue is not English, I was sometimes having questions about my academic writing, you know? So sometimes I had a flatmate, he was very useful, and I was like, hey Mike, can you understand what does it say here? It's English, or it doesn't sound like English? And sometimes he was like, what is this, Anna? You know? So here you're gonna have several services that if you're feeling gloomy, you're feeling homesick, if you're at some moment feeling, struggling with your studies or do not know what to write there, how to put your reference list, or maybe you're having, you want to change your accommodation and you don't know who to ask, you're having financial struggles, any question you might have and you don't know exactly what to do or to who direct to, you can ask me. So I'm working always with HASS College. I'm from the Student Engagement and Success Unit. We are two as well at the moment, Melissa and me, and we're recruiting a third one, but most of the time I'm going to be your contact point and for any kind of questions you're gonna have. Around week 3, we're going to send a text message to all of you, asking if you have any questions, if you're feeling well, if things are going all right, or you would like us to contact you. And you can reply 1 or 2, depending if you want me to send you an email or to give you a phone call. So whatever question you have, please, guys, do not hesitate. Any question you have, it's normal to have questions. You can also ask your topic coordinators. Topic coordinators are like Eliza, welcoming, nice, and friendly. And don't worry, oh, they are a doctor, they have a PhD, they have to be super smart. Don't worry, she was a bachelor undergraduate student once, a master's student once, a PhD like you are right now. And probably she had in some moments some struggles and some stress. And if you want to share that with us, we can support you out and help you out through these situations, okay? So welcome to Flinders, whatever you need, I'm gonna be around. Normally I'm at HASS on Tuesday, but whenever you want to make an appointment, I can meet you here at the college. I can meet you also at City Campus if some of you are studying some topics there, okay? So welcome.
Cool. Thank you, Anna. And I would say that Anna and Melissa are really kind of key fonts of knowledge, because sometimes, whilst I'll be talking about different support services, sometimes you don't know which support service to go to. So they're the really key people to kind of go, I have a question, but I don't know where to go. And they'll help with that. So really important. Okay, I have a competition. So hopefully you've still got your Slido up from previously. If not, I think it will appear again on the next page for any of those of you who came in a little bit later. So there is a competition. There is going to be a question I'll reveal on the next page. The first correct answer wins a pair of duck socks. I know, high stakes, right? High stakes. All right, so even those of you online as well can join in this. Okay, so how many disciplines are there in the College of HASS? So I did mention this right at the beginning. Hopefully you didn't miss it. Okay, Gemma. Where's Gemma? Perfect. First one off the bat with the correct answer. There are your duck socks. Well done. Yeah, I know, put on them as an extra layer now. But good to see everyone's pretty much on the right sort of ballpark as well, which is great. So yeah, 20 different disciplines in HASS. It's a lot. It's a lot of different disciplines. There are more duck socks up for grabs later, so just watch out. All right, cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is just go into a little bit of detail around some of the essential things. So I'm going to try not to overwhelm you with too much information, but just cover some key things just to be thinking about at this point. If you don't remember all of this, don't worry. You can ask people later. I'm sure your topic coordinators will again remind you of some of this as they go through the semester. So very importantly, Wi-Fi. We all need Wi-Fi, right? It's better that you use the university's data than your own. So absolutely make sure all your devices you've got onto the EduRoam network. So again, really important. So whether it's on your phone or your laptop or any other device that you're bringing onto campus, it's simply putting in your username, which is your FAN, which is your kind of the first 4 letters of your surname, and then your numerical code after that, and then your Flinders password for that. So make sure you got sorted with your Wi-Fi. There is a new students page, so if you haven't yet familiarised yourself with some of the websites and some of the key locations to look at online, there is this new students page. So it's Compass, so it's a really good sort of starting point to sort of navigate from and find out a little bit more about places and things to go. So through Compass, you can organise your student ID card. Hands up if you've got a student ID card sorted already. Oh, you're pretty good, you're pretty good. If you haven't done it already, you can organise it online through Compass, or you can wander down to Flinders Connect and get one down there. So just kind of near the library, just near the hub, is Flinders Connect, and you can organise one from there. And you will need an ID card for a number of things, like borrowing from the library, access into specific rooms. So some disciplines do actually have rooms that you'll need to have out of hours access. So staff members should alert you to some of that next week. So just bear that in mind. In terms of enrolments, you do need to get enrolled into your topics. If there is a choice of different seminars, make sure you are selecting one of those options. So you select your classes, okay? So our online learning system is called Flow. It's kind of short for, as you can see at the top there, Flinders Learning Online. So whenever your topic coordinators are talking about Flow, that's what they're on about, the online system. You would have gotten access to your topics on Flow as of yesterday. Has anyone had a look at your Flow sites yet? Did we? Perfect, awesome. So start having a look around them, start navigating around, just seeing where some of those key pages are that your tutors and lecturers will post things to. Because often we'll pop slides up there. There'll be the assessments tab as well, which is where you go to submit your assignments as well. Okay, so transport. So just to quickly cover this, you've all managed to get here today, which is brilliant. You would have seen what our parking system is like. It can get quite busy once semester begins. So I would suggest if you are driving to campus, try and get here at least, what do you guys recommend? Half an hour, 45 minutes before class, just to make sure that you get a park. You may be up the hill a bit if you get here too late. But absolutely sort of just make plans for that. Familiarise yourself with where the car parks are that are close to your classes as well. But there's also bus options as well as train. So if you are going to do any classes in the city campus as well, you can easily get a train from the Flinders station down near the medical centre into the Adelaide railway station. There is also a loop bus that goes around the campuses. It can take you all the way down to Tonsley. It can take you to the Flinders train station. So lots of different options as well. Okay, so the library. So the library is a really key place to go, obviously for a lot of access for your learning materials, so textbooks, journal articles, all of those sorts of things. There is always staff around, either online or physically in place. So do make the most of the library staff and what they can offer and help you with. There is a QR code if you do want to find out a little bit more about the library at this point. Otherwise, go into the library. The staff are really friendly. It's a little bit confusing, and I've had students say this to me before. They're like, where are the books? They walk into the main university space and they're like, where's the books? So if you take the stairs, or I think there's also a lift, over to your right, up to at least the second level, that's where all the books start. So just don't panic about that you've not found the right spot. The bottom level tends to be a lot of study rooms, a lot of areas where you can study as well. Okay. And of course, there are plenty of options in terms of financing your studies as well. So there are some scholarship options. So if you do want to have a look, there is a specific website that will detail all the different types of scholarships, and you can find out about all of these different things and your eligibility for that as well. Okay, I have a question. So another little opportunity to get involved here. So again, you can hope if you've got the app still open, you can answer this. There is more than one correct answer. So what are some of the key things to organise before your semester begins, which is only next week? Is it allowing you to select? Has it come up, the new question? Okay, so pop in any things that you think you need to have organised before semester, or things that are good to organise before semester. Ah, there we go. Just needed a click. Okay, cool, perfect. Yeah, so absolutely, these are the key things to be thinking about. Whilst this is nice to figure out, probably not immediately. Hopefully as you go through the semester, you'll start to find some spaces that kind of work for you. But absolutely figure out how to get to uni, sort out your enrolment and registration, and get yourself an ID card. Okay, cool. Perfect. So whilst we're talking about things on campus, so one thing I wanted to kind of talk about is the fact that we want to make sure everyone is safe on campus. And of course, that can mean a lot of different things, but there is a lot of information that you can sort of go into and have a look at this. If there is any unacceptable behaviour that you experience, absolutely do kind of report it. I don't think we've had much incidences, but you know, hopefully that continues. One thing I do want to note in addition to what's on the slide as well is that we do have a security office that's just down near the library, or just kind of tucked underneath the library. If you are finishing classes particularly late, or even if you've been studying in the library quite late and you want someone to walk you to your car, that is a possibility. So go and see the security staff and speak to them about that, okay? Because we want to make sure that everyone kind of gets home safely from our campus. So on campus, we also have a lot of different services here at Bedford Park. So we do have options to get you in to see a doctor or a nurse, which is particularly helpful, especially for those of you coming from overseas and interstate, because you may not have your established doctors already. So there are services that are available here. There are also options to get counselling through the university as well, which is a free service that you can access. Also, What I do suggest as well is that you get in contact with the Disability Services team. If you do have any learning difficulties or if you have any carer responsibilities, it includes things like mental health as well. So do kind of speak to the Disability Services team and they can come up with what we call an access plan. And the access plan creates a set of recommendations. So we call them reasonable adjustments. And this is a plan that you can send around to all of your topic coordinators. It doesn't divulge any information. It simply says, so-and-so needs these particular things. So it's a really good way to be able to say, here's the support that I need in your topic. And then often topic coordinators will respond to that and say, okay, here's how we can handle that and take that into consideration for the topic. So absolutely, if that is something you do need, I would suggest trying to book in with them as soon as possible because it can take a little while for the access plans to be created. And as soon as you've got that, do send that to your topic coordinators, particularly helpful for assessment time because some of the reasonable adjustments can include extension requests as well. So do bear that in mind. Okay. So on to some of the services that we have here at Flinders University. So we have a place called Oasis, which is a sort of community wellbeing centre. It is just across from Car Park 5. So if you go beyond the laneway near the Humanities building, across from Car Park 5 is a building there. And downstairs in that section there is Oasis. And they run lots of different programs. So you can see on the slide just a list of some of those things. There is a QR code as well. Everything's got a QR code these days. So you can find out a little bit more information about some of the programs that they run. But often you'll see different initiatives and things like that highlighted through various different social media, but also posters around the campus and things like that. So, international student services. So many of you guys in the room being international students, this is a really good group to kind of contact with. Again, QR code. But they do arrange lots of different sessions. In fact, at the end of this week, there is an international students event that's happening on Friday. So if you haven't seen it already, look at the orientation planner and check that out. So a really good place to start in terms of connecting and communicating with other people across your degrees, also across the university as well. Okay. So some other things just to note is that there are lots of different groupings in the university, different groups that can sort of support your university journey. So I've already introduced Anna as one of our student success and wellbeing advisors. We've got various different conversation groups that are run through Oasis. There are equal opportunity advisors, a Pride network, so lots of opportunities to kind of link into people and kind of advocate for yourself as well. Okay, another question. So where can you go to organise an access plan? Oh, did I click too early then? Hang on, let me go back. I clicked too early. Maybe now I'll click. Okay. So, there are lots of different support services. It's sometimes tricky to figure out who does what. So our student learning support service, they're the ones that generally give you advice around your academic studies. So for instance, they'll run workshops around things like referencing. They run a learning lounge, which is a bit more of like a drop-in session. Again, sort of helping you with maybe some of your writing skills, things like that. But if you are wanting an access plan, then Disability Services is the place to go to organise your access plan. Perfect. All right. So I mentioned at the beginning that there's lots of opportunities to get involved in the broader kind of student experience at Flinders, and it's not just the academic sort of stuff that happens on campus. There's lots of other activities and things that go on. So what I've done is compiled a list of associations and clubs that are kind of related to the discipline areas that we have in HASS. So there are quite a variety of different groups that you can join. There will be a fair day next week during what we call Connect Week, which is we'll be down in the hub, so it's an opportunity for you to speak to some of the clubs and associations, figure out a little bit more about what they do, and yeah, an opportunity to join as well. So one particular club that has a representative here that I'd just like to introduce up to the stage. So this is Callum from FLAG. There you go.
Hi everyone, not going to take too much of your time today. I'm from FLAG, which is the Flinders Literature and Authors Guild, and basically we're an organisation here to support you through any writing tasks or anything that you might need help with in that regard. So primarily what we do is assist if you need editing, formatting help, anything like that with your assignments, but we're also setting up things such as writing workshops for any students who want to have more practice writing novels, scripts, poetry, anything like that. We have a QR code up here that you can scan if you want to join up or sign up for the workshops. We also have some flyers outside that you can grab and have a look at if you want to. I'm going to be around a little bit after this session as well if you want to come up and ask any questions. I think we do have a couple of other members too. If you wanted to talk to any of us, we're all here for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So another club I just want to spruik as well while we're here is the Flinders University Performing Arts Society. They are actually busy rehearsing right now for their performance that they're doing this week. So if you're interested in seeing what they do, they are having a performance from Thursday. You can look at the QR code, get some tickets and find out a little bit more about what they do, but they are quite active. They generally put on a performance at least twice a year. So if you are kind of that way inclined and want to get into performing, I think they also run some improv groups as well. So just a bit of fun and nice way to kind of interact with others as well. But there are more. There are definitely more associations and clubs. So do check out the fair day next week. Okay. The other kind of very HASS-specific thing I want to share with you is around our student representatives. So we have student reps in pretty much all of our different degree programs, as you can see listed on the board here. We also have people that are student reps for honours, for masters, and it's a really good way of making sure that we're in touch with what students want. So often you'll be introduced to your student reps early on in the semester, whether it's in person or just through a simple kind of survey or other sort of way of reaching out. So hopefully you'll meet your student reps fairly early on in your studies. And they often ask, you know, what can we do? What can we help with? How can we improve things? And what they do is take that information back to course coordinators and we filter that into how we do things. So it is a really kind of important role and really kind of makes sure that the student voice is heard through that process. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to invite a couple of our student reps up. So if you guys want to make your way over here. Okay. So right next to me we've got Maddie, who is doing a BCI. I knew I was going to get it wrong today. Yeah, so Bachelor of Creative Arts. Mm-hmm. Writing and publish? Creative writing. I always get those two mixed up. Yeah. And then Ivana is doing BCI, so Bachelor of Creative Industries, writing and publishing. Got it right. Okay, perfect. And what I might also do is ask Janine and Anna to come up to the stage as well, because we're going to do just a little bit of a panel. And this is, again, an opportunity for you guys. If you do have questions, you can ask questions via the Slido app, or you can simply raise your hand and we'll kind of answer questions like that. I do have pre-prepared questions as well, just while you guys are warming up. So I'm going to pass that to you first of all, Maddie. So I'm going to start with a simple question of what was your first day at uni like?
My first day, I got lost pretty much immediately. Bit of advice, there's an app called Lost on Campus. Please download Lost on Campus. Flinders is very big, and I came from a pretty small high school, so I got immediately lost. Very helpful app. And my first class was a workshop, which was a really good way to start for me. I met some amazing people. It was pretty intimidating at the beginning, a lot of information very quickly, but it's also just very exciting. I'd always wanted to study creative writing, so I was very happy to be here. I got sushi, and then I went home, and I also got lost going home. So, moral of the story, plan where you're going, don't do what I did.
Had a very similar experience. I don't come from this area at all, so it takes me around maybe 40 minutes, an hour to get to Flinders. So while I was driving, I ended up going all the way halfway to Victor Harbour, and then realised I wasn't going the right way, had to turn around, came to Flinders, walked into a classroom that was actually for the masters, sat down, halfway through realised I'm not meant to be here, and then ended up finding my classroom, and my class had ended. So that was my first day, but was a very good learning experience because I definitely did not make that mistake again. And it also definitely taught me that I need to actually find where my classes are as well, which, yeah, it's a very, very big tip, and I definitely recommend getting lost on campus because it will show you not only where your classes are, what building they're in, but also what it looks like from the outside from multiple different angles. So that way, no matter what building you're coming through, you'll be able to find where that classroom is.
Yeah, perfect. Good advice, because yeah, you can download the Lost in Campus app from, I think, Android, so Google Play or whatever the iPhone thing is.
Yeah.
iPlay, I think. So yeah, really good app to have, really helpful. Perfect. Anna, I'm going to ask a different question to you.
If I don't know, I will pass the mic to Janine.
Any tips you have for success at university?
Well, any moment you have any doubt, ask. That's the only tip that I can give you at the moment, because there are more than 40 services at Flinders that, depending, not all of you are going to need all those services, but there are services for every case. So who the person you can ask, I was mentioning that the topic coordinators are very good, like a starting point to ask something. Sometimes you could be a little bit embarrassed, but as I mentioned before, they once were students as well. They once were the first day, the first year, the first semester. So they have enough experience to at least direct you to contact any of us in the admins or me. And once you ask, having into account that there are no silly questions, but silly people that do not ask questions. You're coming here to learn. You're not supposed to, in your day one, to know everything, okay? In fact, what is my name? Who remembers? No, my full name, that's too short, I'm kidding. But I don't expect everyone to know that, and especially my full name is not relevant to you at this point, okay? And never will be relevant to you, unless that you just want to contact me. So that's what I'm saying. On week 3, I'm gonna send a message to all of the students, not me, I mean my team. So if you really have a question, don't think it's silly. If you have a question, just say yes and we'll contact you. If you don't know, at this moment, you might want to ask something because you want to have an access plan, but you're not feeling sure, because some people are, afraid that might impact in their studies to have a studying plan. Quite the opposite, but if still you want to discuss about that, just send me an email. This presentation are going to be shared with them. You're going to find the website where you can book an appointment with me and come and ask me questions, and I can direct you in the correct point if you still don't want to ask directly to your topic coordinator. But that is the best thing. If you want to succeed in your study, get support. That's it.
Yeah, really good advice. And as an academic, we get asked all sorts of things. And in fact, relating to the idea of getting lost on the first day, in week 1, week 2, we kind of expect students to come up to us. So anyone who has like a staff ID card or a lanyard around their neck, they're fair game. Go and ask them questions. If you don't know where you're going, ask them questions. I often have students that, if they get into the wrong class, they'll be sat there and like, are you in the right spot? They'll be like, no. And I'll sit and go, okay, where's your timetable? Let's have a look. And they'll direct you to the right spot. So don't worry about that. Janine, any particular tips for success?
From a staff member's perspective, my first day at university, I got lost. So it's not just limited to students. It's a big campus, and if you've got any doubts, speak to any member of staff or go into Flinders Connect, and we'll redirect you to contact the enrolment and course advisors. So my team, we would recommend you do an Ask Flinders. Regardless of what you want to know about your course and your studies, if it's about student finance or anything to do with your journey, please lodge an Ask Flinders request and we will make sure that it's allocated to the correct team. So it's like an email on your dashboard, and it's called Ask Flinders. Just lodge your email and it will go to the relevant team and we'll be happy to help. What we would recommend when it comes to course advice, which is what Joe and Annie do, is by all means ask your peers and speak to the academics. However, you're all on your own journey. So depending on how you've come to us from university, you could have received credit from your other studies, or you're only doing 2 topics instead of 4 topics, and you've got a different journey to even your friend or people within your cohort, please do an Ask Flinders request and we'll put you on the right track. We would rather you ask questions right from the start so that we can help you on your journey, because it's going to be harder to get you back on track. We can do it, but it's going to be harder if you've enrolled in the wrong topics that's not relevant to you, but you've just enrolled because your friend enrolled. So please always lodge an Ask Flinders request and we'll be happy to help.
Okay. Are there any questions from the crowd at this point? Or online? No? Not just yet? Okay. I will say, if you do ask a question, there's some duck socks on the line. So just put that out there. I'll go down my list then on my questions. So I might come back to you guys as student reps. What do you do if you can't make it to a seminar or a lecture?
Depending on the class, as a creative writing student, I've got a lot of tightly knit workshops. I've also got a lot of bigger classes. I usually email just to double check if there's anything really critical I've missed. And then the vast majority of my classes are usually recorded. So there's often a recording I can watch to catch up with everything. I think it's a good practice. I like having everything recorded so I can go back over things as well. But really it's just about communication. I think transparency is often the best thing. All of the tutors and lecturers here are lovely, so if you say, hey, I can't make it in today, they're usually really understanding. But for me, it's usually the best bet.
Yep.
Yeah, I would definitely say don't not tell your lecturers and tutors that you won't be there, because there's a lot of times I have a lot of elective space, so I've done a lot of topics across a lot of different areas, and there's a lot of topics where participation is either part of your grade, so you can lose a very, very big chunk of your grade if you're not there, and there may be certain learning material or certain things that they do in class which you need to make up for. I know one class we had together recently, creative writing class, there are workshops they need to do with students, and we were graded on our participation in those workshops. So if I didn't rock up to any of them, I wouldn't get my grade for not only participation, but then also for workshopping.
It was about 15% overall. It was a pretty substantial one.
Yeah, it's a pretty big amount that they take off. So definitely just communicate that with them. They're not going to be mad that you're not there. It's more so they want to know so they can get you up to speed with what you missed, and make sure that you don't get a grade taken off just for that.
Yeah. And I think following on from that, a piece of advice I'd share is around listening next week, because next week you'll have your first introductory kind of discussions in your topics. So listen to what the grading system is, what are the key assessments and key things you'll be graded on, but also they'll be able to share exactly the format of what's going to happen in that topic. So whether lectures are going to be recorded, for example, whether there is particular requirements in terms of attendance and participation as well. So do absolutely make note of anything like that does get mentioned at the beginning. And yeah, do follow up with your topic coordinators. And we acknowledge that people are going to be sick, things are going to happen, that you have other commitments sometimes. So just let them know. Because otherwise, if we don't see you for quite a while, we get worried and we'll end up emailing you and be like, what's going on? Are you okay? Are you still here? And a lot of the time when we do email you like that, it's kind of directing you to some of the support services as well. Okay, still no questions? Have we got any questions? No? It looks like I get to keep some duck socks. Okay, let's carry on. So I'm probably going to focus a little bit more on you guys as student reps. Are you working and studying? And if so, how do you manage that balance?
I am at the moment. How I manage it is a great question. I think for me, it's just planning. I'm a huge planner. I like to just know what's going on in my week. So if there's a week where I know I'm going to be taking a lot more shifts, I like to just accommodate for that in other areas. I study on campus quite a bit. I find this just to be a good environment to work in. Also, I see work as a bit of a break from uni. My job doesn't really require me to talk to people much. And I like people. People are great, but it's really nice to have that break sometimes as well. So it's good balance to some extent. And also just being open with my employer about, I've got university, it's a pretty intense commitment. My hours aren't quite as flexible because of that. A lot of that communication goes a long way for me.
Yep.
So I actually work for Flinders. So I'm a student ambassador as well as in the admin office. So that's definitely also an opportunity you can take up while studying here. And so I work very regularly every week. And so what I've done is, because I do really like money, I've dropped down to part-time. So I'm doing 3 topics per semester. I used to be full-time, and then I was like, I want to work more, drop down to part-time, and now I can work more while also studying less, which is really good. It gave me that space to breathe, just because you don't expect it, but a lot of topics in a writing degree are very content heavy. There's a lot of reading, there's a lot of writing, and it does take a lot of time to produce these really big works. So it's, yeah, I think don't be afraid of changing your study load around and seeing what works for you. It may be a little bit intimidating because it takes a bit longer, but in the long run, I'm glad I did that so I didn't get burnt out, because yeah, taking care of yourself and your priorities is very, good idea.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point about, like, yes, the full topic load is doing 4 topics a semester, but you don't have to do that. Find a way that sort of works best for you. However, caveat to that is international students, that there can be implications for that. So absolutely talk to people around those sorts of things. Janine, I might go back to you and just sort of ask, what are some of the common queries you often get from students?
We get a range of queries, especially through the HASS Flinders. It can be, how do I get an ID card, about parking and things like that. But when the inquiries are directed to the college, usually it's about enrolments. I've got a timetable clash, or unfortunately I've had to withdraw from a topic, or I failed a topic. What do I need to do for my next semester? And we can answer all these queries. We can either just do it through the HASS Flinders system, or if it starts to get too complicated, we would ask for you to come and see us personally. So that would just be in the college office, the college front, and then we can talk to you personally about your enrolment. And like I say, everybody's journey is different. If you start at your different years, you can have different course rules and things like that. So again, the course advice is personal to your journey.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Janine. I'm going to come back to you guys again because you're a very useful resource. What do you do if you're experiencing issues that are affecting your studies?
As I've said, transparency is great. I think communicating with your lecturers and your tutorial tutors that there's an ongoing problem is really beneficial. And Flinders just has so many opportunities for support. Accessibility plans are fantastic. I would highly recommend looking at that if needed. We have extension request options, so for the majority of degrees, you can get a 3-day extension without any significant medical information. Anything longer, you usually need either a form or some more communication with your tutors, but everyone's pretty good about granting those extensions. So usually, a big thing to remember is a good grade is never going to be worth your mental health. So if you need those extra days, please take them. Apply for extensions. It's pretty straightforward. If you go onto Canvas, there's a tab which literally just says extension request. You can go through that. But yeah, just communicating with lecturers is one of the best things you can really do for more support.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I think definitely agree with that. Taking advantage of all the support services, I didn't in my first couple of years, and I've only just started doing that in my third year. And I really wish I had done that in my first year because it would have helped me so much more. There's even things such as like Studiosity, which is thing that we use where educators around the world will help draft your work. They'll help you talk through things like essay structure, even brainstorming essay ideas, which was really helpful for me. And also taking advantage of things like the doctor on campus, that's bulk billed, so it's all good. I've also used counselling services here and the psychologist as well, which was really helpful. And yeah, definitely those extensions, just kind of, again, asking at any given point in time, don't feel embarrassed to. That's like my number one big advice is if you're struggling, there is always going to be someone there to support you. You just need to go out and find it.
Yeah, perfect.
Can I add
Yeah, go for
something
it.
now that you're saying that? And you were mentioning something that is key, that is planning your time. In life, not only studies are important, many of you will have to work. We're saying, I was an international student before. International students, you are not allowed to work full-time. You have to work part-time because of visa conditions, and you have to study full-time. Saying this, study is a full-time job. Treat your studies as a full-time job. If you're studying 4 topics, that is a full-time job. Dedicate that time to your studies and try to have routines that help you out to go through, and that will help you out a little bit to avoid procrastination. And another thing, the extensions are available for you. It's important if you have 24 hours a day, at least of those 24 hours, you have to take 6 to 8 to sleep, okay? You at least need 3 to eat, okay? And don't feel guilty for taking time to rest. And maybe you want to have some social events, your birthday, someone's birthday, but then try to at least allocate 5 to 6 hours in a day to your studies, at least, per topic, okay? And finally, if you have an assignment that is provided to you in week 1, don't think that you can going to smash a study in 2 days, okay? If they're giving you an assignment in week 1 and it's for submit that assignment in week 4, it's probably because you will need that time because you're not only working on one topic, you also need to work in another 2 or 3 topics, and also you need maybe to go to work, and maybe you also need to rest, and you need to commute, and you need to have a social life as well. So all those things, well-being is about balancing all the aspects of your life, okay? So that's very good recommendations you're giving, guys.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. I think it can be a bit misleading in HASS because a lot of our degrees don't have a huge number of contact hours. So you kind of think, oh, I can just easily smash out my contact hours in a couple of days and then that's me done for the week. But often it's thinking about the assignments and when they're going to fall, because sometimes it can take a lot longer than you first think. So absolutely kind of building that sort of study time into every week really and trying to manage your time. Yeah. Right. One final question. Any other questions from the crowd? No? Oh, I've tried. No, clearly not. So final question, I'll probably focus on you guys. In fact, you guys can answer as well. What's one of your favourite spots or favourite study spots on the university campus?
Oh, when it's not this cold, I really like laneways. So there's if you go out, you go right, there's a cafe called Bon Voyage. They do an amazing coffee. And there's a couple of benches around there that are really lovely to sit at. It's pretty social. A lot of art students go through there, so it's a nice place. The student hub is also pretty great. If you go up to the second floor, you can usually see the ocean, which is quite nice. There's little booths in there that are always taken, but if you can get one of those, they're really lovely to sit at. There's just nice little pockets. There are a lot of charges. There are charges everywhere on campus, which is great. It's just really finding what worked for you.
Yeah, as an introvert, I don't like sitting around people. So my big thing is I need to find somewhere where it's isolated, no one around, dead quiet. I can't handle noise. I need to just be in my zone. So my number one thing is the law library, which a lot of people find intimidating because you're constantly surrounded by law students. But it's the very top level of the library, and they have these amazing booths. They've all got windows, so you can just see out the entirety of the campus. And that's where I hang out the most. The desks are huge. There's compartments for everything. And it's dead silent up there. You're not allowed to talk, not allowed to make any noise. So it's really, really nice. And then also in the second floor of the library, they've also got a similar thing with little booths, but you're surrounded by books. So it's a really cool environment.
Well, I'm quite food driven, so whatever I can find food easily, that's my favorite spot, especially Aliri, the restaurant. They have good coffee and they have a good view. I also like the views over the sea, so that's my favorite spot. And sometimes I go to City Campus, so I also like to have a view towards the Oval. So that's a good spot, but there's not much food there, so I will prefer to stay here.
I like to sit at the laneway because, again, I like the coffee. But when it's slightly warmer, we like to walk around the lake. So you'll see a lot of the staff at lunchtimes walking around the lake, getting some exercise. So, yeah, I like the lake.
Yep. Very, very coffee-driven answers there, but I like it. It's what you need. All right, we might leave it there with the panel. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Oop. So just a couple of things to kind of finish off with today. So it's really about trying to make the most of your orientation this week. So there is a separate site that you can have a look at called Finding Your Way at Flinders. It is where a lot of these videos will be placed after orientation has happened. So you can go back to these videos and have a little look. And also if there were any other sessions that you couldn't make, you can explore some of those things because there are lots of different activities that are happening this week, lots of different information sessions. O Week is the whole of this week. Even if you wanted to have a wander into the city campus, so even though you might be studying here predominantly, you can go to City Campus and have a look at what City Campus is like. So you can go in there and sort of study as well. So in terms of what's happening around here this week, there is a welcome hub, which is down in the main sort of hub area of the university. There are campus tours, so follow someone around, let them show you where things are. There are sessions that are run by our Student Learning Support Service, which is ready to go sessions. There's sessions around Intro to Flow, so showing you how to navigate around our learning management system. And there's also some social events as well, which is fun. Then next week, we call next week Connect Week, because it's really our opportunity to kind of get to know everyone. It's an opportunity for you guys to link in with some of the different associations, different clubs, different professional services and support services. So again, there'll be the Welcome Hub down in the hub area of the university. So if you do have questions, that's a really good place to go. There'll be a quiz night and a few other things going on the campus. So nice opportunity to get involved in the campus atmosphere before all the assignments and things kick in. Right, final question for you guys. So I mentioned the HASS College Front before. So just a simple question, what is the HASS College Front a great place for? Again, more than one correct answer to this one. Give you a minute to respond. Let's have a look. Yeah, so absolutely. Great place to get advice from HASS staff. So there's always someone there Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. You can use it as a meeting space or a study space. There's the coffee there. Generally, we don't have the loud parties, although sometimes staff get a bit rowdy, but generally not for that purpose. But yeah, it's a really good space. It's a really nice place to go up to if you are kind of looking for somewhere else to study. It's generally quite quiet, so a nice space to be. Okay, so something I'll just mention briefly. So some key dates to think about for semester 2. So I've mentioned this week being O Week. Next week is Connect Week. There are also particular dates to bear in mind in terms of your topics. So end of week 2 is the last chance to enrol into a topic. And then week 5 is what we call census date. So this is when the date up to which you can withdraw from a topic without it being a little mark against your name or anything. But then October, you've got to withdraw without failure. So just bear in mind some of those particular dates. Again, it may not be something that you have to think about, but just consider that. We will send around some communications as well throughout the semester. Sonia, is there a question?
When is the fair day next week?
when is the fair day next week? And I know I should have prepped for that one. I believe it's Tuesday, but double check that. Look at the orientation planner. It will have exactly what date. It usually is a Tuesday, but again, double check the orientation planner just to be sure. Perfect. Any other questions? I got excited. There's a question. So really top tips I have for you as well is to try and keep in the loop with what's happening across the university. So there is obviously through your usual kind of topic sites, a lot of your lecturers will post announcements, they'll post information. So keep an eye out for anything that happens on those sites. Also, regularly check your emails. Really key thing to do, because a lot of notifications, a lot of announcements will also come through to your emails as well. There is a student newsletter called Ping. So this will come through to your emails as well. It's just a bit of a nice newsletter that kind of pulls together a lot of information from lots of different areas across the university and lets you know what's happening on campus. So there are also social media sites. So Ask Flinders is a really key one on terms of Facebook. And we've also got Hey Flinders if you're more of an Instagrammer. So join those. It is really good to kind of get those updates from those. There is also both Facebook and Instagram site for the Flinders University Student Association, FUSA. And that's a really good source of information as well. So I even have that on my phone so I can sort of see what's happening on campus and kind of what kind of events are happening. So do have a look at that. So the last bit of information I will kind of share with you as well is do have a look around the room. We have actually colour-coded your little name badges. So you'll notice there's a little dot on your name badges. We've colour-coded that by your degree. So if you have a look around the room and see someone with the same coloured dot as you, they are in your degree. So do say hello, introduce yourself, because it's nice to have a familiar face going into next week, especially as you're going into topics. You might go into a class and go, oh, I recognise that person. I'm in the right spot. It's always helpful. But yeah, introduce yourselves. The last bit as well is just around a free lunch. So make sure you engage in the free lunch today. So down near the hub, FUSA are actually running a lunch from about 12:30, I believe. So have a wander down to the main hub area, so just down that way. Have a look at what's around, check out the welcome hub, ask some questions of staff around there, maybe go on a campus tour, have some lunch. Yeah? Thank you guys for coming. Hope you enjoy. All the best.